everybody. I hope you are doing great. I am so excited to introduce my good friend Sonny to you, Sonny Tran. Hi, Sonny. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Christa? Glad
Going
to be here.
great. I'm really excited to introduce you today, Sonny, to everybody who's watching. I'm going to be interviewing Sonny, and what Sonny's going to teach us is how to find money in your business. If you're sitting here thinking, well, I'd like to find some money in my business right now, I think this is something that everyone can take advantage of, especially if you're any kind of business owner at all. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Sonny before I start this interview with him. Sonny is an amazing person. He's a two-time best-selling author, and he's been serving the business world for over 20 years. He's been an executive and also an owner of accounting firms, financial companies, and he's even owned a few banks. That's amazing. Sonny is now on a mission to help entrepreneurs with their cash flow needs by finding them money, by merging finance with sales and marketing. So those three things into one ecosystem. And he calls it the cash flow trifecta system. So that will be really instrumental in his joint mission of helping 20 million families cure financial cancer in the next 10 years. He stands out and he's the go-to guy when entrepreneurs need help sorting out their cash flow issues because other advisors don't have as much experience or knowledge about these three separate areas that I mentioned in a holistic way. So his unique perspective gives him an advantage when it comes to solving complex financial problems. And Sonny is passionate about helping entrepreneurs achieve their goals and dreams. And Sonny, I am so happy to have you on this interview right now.
Thanks so much. Wow, that's very kind, Christa. I really appreciate it. You know,
Yeah, I met Sonny. Gosh, how far do we go back now, Sonny? Has it been 5 years? I think about
probably 5
5 years.
years or more in
Mhm.
Grant Cardone's ambassador program.
That's right. Sonny and I were both part of Grant Cardone's first ever ambassador program, and we got coached by him personally. For I think it was a few months, and it was awesome, amazing experience. We met in that program and at the event, and I really, what I love and respect about Sonny is his ethical nature. He values relationships and people above everything else, and I've seen him just do the right thing, even if it cost him. And so, Sonny, I really appreciate about you, and I'm honored to be able to interview you today. So, can I start by asking you some questions, Sonny? Because you're going to talk to us right now in this interview about how to find money in our business. So that'll be exciting. What made you get started in all of this?
Well, I think the big thing that got me started in finding money is like my grandmother at the same age I am now, 43 years old, she died, and on her deathbed, she wanted to eat meat. And because we were farmers in Vietnam, we had no money, couldn't afford anything. In her whole lifetime, she wanted to eat meat. That was her dying wish. And there was no way for us to provide it. So she died without having to ever eat meat. So money in its most ancient form is just cooperation. And every problem that I learned how to put this system kind of together was to help others, really. You know, and as like Tony Robbins speaks, he says that we do more for others than we will for ourselves. So for that Grant Cardone conference, me and you met, that's what kind of started it because I owned a bank at the time. So I gave people mortgages and my referral partners were real estate agents. And a lot of real estate agents are like, sending to like, hey, can you like help us a little bit? And I was like, all right, let me get my sales team that. And I actually had another financial company where I had a sales team about 130 agents and like helping people with money and things like that. And I was like, maybe this little tweak can help them. So I went there learning, and that's how I met you. And that's how I got my sales hat, right? So 10X right here. So you got
I
Grant
love
here,
it.
So that's where I learned like the sales, but I already learned sales when I was like younger. I worked for a .com when I was in college and, did some stocks, and that's how I got the finance stuff. I was a stockbroker while I was a freshman still in college because I wanted to learn about money again. My grandma died. That was like burned a hole in my mom's soul where it's like, I never want money to be a problem in its most ancient form. It's just cooperation, you know?
Wow.
if my grandmother with the family was like, "Hey, we're farmers." If you knew how to trade that for meat for a hunter, you can do that. And going way back to our prehistoric days where we're cave people, that's how people banded together. You're trading your gifts, what's bestowed from God to you. Like some people know how to hunt, other people know how to grow vegetables. Maybe that could have happened, but I don't know what the time was like back then, with my parents, but I never wanted money to be a problem. And it's just cooperation. If I learn how to trade, then you can get what you want. And that's it, right? So, like, say someone who works at McDonald's, minimum wage, they're trading their hour, which is for minimum wage, which used to be like $5 or $6 now with inflation is higher. Or you could be a heart surgeon for that same hour, you just save someone's life. So surgeon can make hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars in billable rates for the hospital, while the guy at McDonald's that gives a heart attack makes $7 or $8. So it's just time that we're trading. And that's where value or commerce or cooperation, which is money, is exchange. Now it's more efficient. Now you do coins, right? And like, hey, here's a coin for your hour. Here's my hour. And we keep on trading our time through currency. So that's kind of how I see that part of it. And
And how
what
did
that
you come to this revelation that, you could help people find money? Like what was that aha moment for you?
Well, I always like could find money in different ways, but there's like three factors. So, like I was saying, sales is important. Sales is basically trading someone some gift that you have for money. That's what sales is. And I understood that, even before Grant, but Grant was to make it a little bit better. On the marketing aspect is then I went to where Russell Brunson, like, because Grant actually sent me there. I spent $30,000 on a bunch of programs. Said when I was with you, I bought 10 programs, like $3,000 a piece. I was like, oh crap. Well, Russell, he got me to Russell. And here's the thing that really changed it for me. In that one statement about money is like, because sales is a cash machine. You want to make money? Go out and sell. There's a book out there from Masterson. It's called Ready, Fire, Aim. That means once you're ready, just fire and aim, not ready, then fire, just go and make money, because any business, you know, if you don't have money, you're broke and you're going to be bankrupt. And for money to come in, you have to make sales. That's it. Just make sales. And that's the focus. A lot of times people focus all the wrong things that don't make you money. So that was step number one. Step number two, the cash flow trifecta, is marketing. It's like an ATM machine. Marketing is just people raising their hand saying, hey, I would like your product. But to do that, you have to kind of learn other things. And why I spent 30,000 Russell Brunson, it wasn't because of marketing. I know how to build funnels. My major was finance and computer programming. Okay. So with computers, I knew how to do landing pages. All a funnel is. But the one statement, Myron Golden, wonderful man too, is also a mentor and coach of mine. He was like, I knew how to give to people. Every problem I saw was give. But he said, in order for you to give more to the world, Christa, you have to learn how to receive. I suck at receiving. I was like, oh, no, no, no. People was like, no, no, that's fine. But when you're not replenished, you run out of gas. It's like with your car, you put in a gas tank, you don't put enough gas, you're done. The car's not going anywhere, you know? And I was like, man, that really stuck to me. I was like, I can't give anymore. The max I made a year was 400,000. That's my limit. I can't do anymore because I needed to make more, money. I don't know. In order to give more to the world, I have to learn how to receive. That was why I got into that program. 30,000, one program. I bought it that night. My body shook. I was like, I never spent, that's a lot of money. You know what I mean? How you think about it. I was like, I never done that before. And that got me into the marketing. The third part was like tax and financial stuff. My mom got screwed by her accountant. And with capital losses, since I was a financial advisor when I was 19. So I worked for, a bank and all that. And I created my own job at that point too. But for that is like my mom, how she had capital losses and they went to a CPA accountant and they're like, I don't need last year's return. Guess what? They didn't carry over something called capital losses. It was $30,000, which would reduce your taxable income. So she paid more taxes because someone was negligent. And I was like, I'm never gonna have that problem. So I learned how to do taxes. I worked for H&R Block. I worked for a CPA and blah, blah, blah. And now I own an accounting firm. How I got into investment cash flows, like trading stocks with my grandma. I was like, never wanted money to be a problem. It needed to be automatic, so investing was important. But this whole system being put together with sales, finance, and marketing I was actually at Tony Robbins' Business Mastery, event. And there was an epiphany that I got. And the epiphany was that all these people, some of them don't know marketing, some of them don't know sales. Some of them don't know finance at all. And Ryan Dice said it best at the Grant Cardone conference where we met again in Florida, the second time. And that one, Ryan Dice is a big marketer. He's like, the new marketer is someone that's a salesperson or entrepreneur, business owner like you with the gifts that everyone that's speaking here have, your audience, but they don't know how they talk to each other. Marketers are like this. They're like, hey, you're not following up enough. And you, the salesperson, is like, your leads suck. And that's the end of the conversation. No more talk. You have to learn how to be friends and work with each other, right? But both of those people don't understand financial people. They just think of algorithms and formulas and math. And some people, you talk too much math, like, blah, throw up. So I think that's like the combination of all that. And Tony Robbins' program, and in there, most of those people, they're great at what they do. They have many gifts in their businesses, but they don't know marketing. They don't know finance or sales, but they're great at their business. But that's not enough. You got to be able to put it all together. So that's where I birthed that system, the cash flow trifecta. Says like, yeah, will be the implementation of these three things for the entrepreneurs so they can have more money in their business, so they can feed their families and live the life that they want.
Awesome. That is amazing. So, Sonny, what have you found that holds people back?
Yeah. So what holds people back a lot of times it's like money, again, in its most ancient forms is cooperation. Sometimes people don't want to part with the money, or because, but if you trade it, you get more time. Just like that surgeon we talked about, the doctor, that bill probably is like 500 grand or $1 million. Do you have it? No. But guess what? You can buy insurance and spread the risk with a lot of other people and get insurance, So you think about that. It's like not knowing how to do it or a model on how to do it. And that's why, like you and I, we believed in that. We went to, grant for learning how to sell better or more. That's the partnership. Mentors are the key to do something that you want to do faster. But if I would ask you a question, Christa, like, does your grandma or your mom have like a secret recipe for cake or something really good? What's your favorite food?
I still use my grandma's cornbread stuffing recipe at Thanksgiving.
Awesome. See that? You have a recipe. So because she gave you the recipe and showed you, now you can bake it exactly like grandma, right?
Yep.
That's the formula. She's already done something really well, and she's spreading that knowledge on to you. And that's the same thing with a mentor, coach, or someone that's done something and it's spread. Did you know that ancient art of like kung fu, which I learned in karate, taekwondo, that was taught from a master that taught someone else, and they taught someone else, and it just kept on going through the generations. Calligraphy, writing, books, the Bible, which we even read, is because someone had to write it down and transpose it. The Gutenberg press made it where it's everywhere else. Otherwise, it was on scrolls before, you know? So
Amazing.
that's the transference of that. That's what holds people. They don't think they can do it. Well, guess what? They don't have to do it. There's someone that's already done it. They can help you. So that internal things like you can do it. And everything that everyone's looking for to find money, it's not that hard. Some of the things is like, hey, talk to your accountant. And sometimes your accountant's wrong. Even in one of our masterminds, I helped one of our mentors find $70,000 in 3 minutes. They're like, yeah, their accountant said no. I was like, no, they're wrong because here's the IRS code. Use it. It's like, oh, boom, they've got $70,000. So you can see money is everywhere. It's just we don't know where to look because we're not trained to do it. You know how Robert Kiyosaki talks about like the rich have different things in the middle class. They have the best accountants, they have the best lawyers, they have the best financial advisors. Why shouldn't everyone else have that? Well, I had to learn from all the best and all these people all my decades. And every problem I had to solve, I learned and tried to find like the best. And because of that, now I can share that message with people. And that's how we're doing it as a business now through my accounting firm. We're finding money, through lending. Like that was another problem, like mortgages. You know how I got into the mortgage business, Kristen? I didn't want to do mortgage. I was trading the mortgage bonds in 2007. I worked for a bank and the bank was like, oh, but guess what? The world blew up. Remember what happened in 2007 and 8,
Do.
Krista?
I do. It was painful, very painful.
Yes. That's when I entered the markets. So you see, during the worst times, but the worst times is when the greatest times are when you understand and know what you're doing. And a couple years later, I ended up owning the bank when I was supposed to trade the bonds, but I couldn't trade the bonds because there's no bonds. The world blew up. And then the owner of the bank was like, Sonny, can you write some mortgages? Because there's no bond market right now. I was like, that's a that's not what I wanted to do. I'm an investment guy. Why would I going to do that? I was like, okay, I can do that. And lo and behold, a couple years later, I ended up owning the dang thing. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, oh, but it's like just solving a problem someone else had. It wasn't like that. That's what I wanted to do, but God led me to where I am now, where I can find money in many different forms. That leveraging credit. Did you know that your credit cards you can use as money and get that money to plug in a hole, but you also always creating. So in sales is like, or marketing first is advertising, getting people to raise their hand. It's first step of finding money. Number two, then you basically sell them and you sell them what they need and they want. You're trading their time, which is their money, and your time for good. Boom. Now you have that. And the third part of it is like leveraging and finding like that money's out there. It's all available for you. The government has a lot of things. Like one of the things that we're helping people with right now, it's called the ERTC tax credit. That's called the Employee Retention Tax Credit. When the government first came out with that thing, everyone heard of PPP. You heard of PPP, Christa?
Yep.
Everyone got that. But at that time, when they're not administration, you either could get that or the ERTC tax credit. Guess what? Then later on, Congress said you can get both. So 50% of all the small businesses out there that had employees and paid for it during that time, they actually qualify for it and it's still out there. And you only have another couple years to get that money before it's gone. So when it's millions of dollars, my last client I helped find $140,000. So
Amazing.
that's there.
Amazing.
That's there for you. You guys, everything's
So
out there.
what I hear you saying is like the number one thing that holds people back is they don't even have a model and they don't know they can do it because they haven't seen anything. And this is awesome because there is a system, there is a recipe. What else holds people back?
Well, what else holds people back a lot of times is they think it's like time. But as we talk about with the model and things, they actually condense all those years and time into short time, and they're just going to give you exact recipe that works. So time, a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't have the time. Well, here's the question, Krista. When will you have the time? How old are you now? You think, how long you been messing around in your life? And you're like, I don't have enough money. Where's the money coming from? And being stressed. Like, there's no stress out there. If you focus on the right things, you'll find it. That's why they always say, that story is like the glass is either half empty or half full. If you're looking at half empty, oh, it's half empty, then it's negative emotions. Like even me and you, how we talk about like the Bible, like the story of Hagar in the Bible.
Yes, I love that story.
Yeah, that was an amazing story. Every time
You
I hear
want
it,
to
it's like,
share?
oh,
Yeah. Are you going
yes,
to explain
yes.
that?
So
Yeah.
yeah, so Hagar was Abraham's well, it was Sarah's handmaiden, right? So one of the slaves were Sarah, and they couldn't have kids since they're really, really old, right?
Yeah.
And what
Abraham and
happened,
Sarah couldn't. Yeah.
yeah, they couldn't. And then with Hagar, she's like, the man is like, hey, you didn't have a child. They had a child, but then Sarah had a child later and sent her out. I was like, I don't want this, kingdom to however. So Hagar was like, okay, send her out to the wilderness. So when she was in the wilderness, she thought she was gonna die of thirst, like, God, don't let me die of thirst or anything. And then the angel and God heard her and sent is like, and she's just weeping and crying. It's like the angel said, open your eyes, woman. It's like, what are you talking about? Open your eyes. Water's right in front of her the whole time. It's not
Yeah.
like it wasn't there. It's because when you focus on lack, you get more of it. And those are negative emotions. But when you focus on the light and you see the water is always there because we're so stuck in that world. So time is like, you do have time. Me, you, everyone that's on this call or watching today in your audience, we all have 24 hours is what we do with it. And that's what's important, like how can you expand that time? Well, be more passionate. Like don't do things like watch Netflix and YouTube and things like that don't do anything for you. Like be very focused. And one of the things that another brain coach taught me, his name John Azaroff, is like, if you want to make more money, you have to focus on making money. What activities are you doing that's creating the money? Not all the other stuff that you think makes money. And it's very simple. It goes down to sales or marketing or finance, and that's it. There's not many other things you think about. It's like everything is a sale. That's how you have money come in. Marketing is like you have to find the people that were willing to give you the money, and finance is like if you don't have budgets and controls and know where money is, you're not going to have it because all lottery winners, did you know that 70% of lottery winners that win the lottery are broke in 5 years?
Wow.
Why do you think that is? You know, they don't have the
They need,
principle.
they
So
need, they need the recipe.
yes, you got it. They need the recipe,
Need the
just like
recipe.
your grandma's recipe. So that's it.
Yeah.
Once they have it, it's quicker. It collapses time, and now you move quicker and do the things that you want to do. Like one story about time is like, and this was earlier. This last week was that my son he picked up a bead from hair, at school, and he put it in his nose. It got stuck in there, and then what happened was the school called me. It's like, you need to pick up your son right away and take him to the emergency room. I was like, right now? I was like, I have all this stuff to do. But since I'm an entrepreneur, I own my business. You know what? I just, hey, I can't talk now, canceled everything, and went and picked up my son and took him to the doctor. So like that, and see, those are the things that that you can do with freedom of time.
Right.
Did I have to do it? No, I don't. A lot of times, if you work for someone that you're trading your time for money and they tell you what to do, when you can go to the bathroom, when you can do anything, you're really fired sometimes if they don't, have an understanding
Yeah.
boss or manager. And that's what we're here to help people like earn their time back. And how you
Yeah.
can do that is like, what are you focused on? Collapse time so you can create more of it. And one thing that from one of my mentors, Ed Milet, he says is, 24 hours a day, but he actually calls it mini days. He collapses time where there's 3 days in one day. There's 6 hour time blocks. From 6 a.m. to 12 is one day. From 12 to 6 is the second day. From
Wow.
6 to midnight is the third day. So he gets 3 days out of one day. It's just how we think about it. And it's
Wow.
amazing. And when I tried to implement it, I'm not as effective or efficient as he is, but it did definitely get me sometimes done more in if I did 3 mini days in a day than I did in a whole week.
Wow.
It's just focus on it.
Amazing. Sonny, how can people learn more about you?
Yeah. So it's interesting. What we're doing is like, you know how sometimes when you go to like events and we train and do all these different things and it costs like $1,000 or $1,500 to go to ticket and you have to fly somewhere and book a hotel room and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing an event, and since I love you, Krista, we can actually do an event for your audience for free at no cost, and it's all online virtual event where you don't have to book a plane ticket, fly anywhere, or anything, and we're going to do it all live where we can actually help people learn the system that we just talked about today briefly, where we can go into detail how people can find money in their business so they can operate more, have more money in their lives, so like that they can feed their families and they can live the life that they want and maybe get more time. you know
Wow. That is amazing. So, for anybody that might be listening to Sonny talk, I think you can hear the investment that Sonny's made. He's paid a huge price with his life and with his finances to get like the best of the best from the best. And I don't know if you've been sitting here listening to Sonny's story about his grandmother, how they were farmers in Vietnam and how her whole life she wanted to eat meat and she never had a chance to eat meat. And on her deathbed, that's all she wanted was to eat meat. And the family couldn't afford to get her some meat to have. And so that pain, what's the pain? Like when he was telling that story, I don't know about you, but I could identify with just cycles in my life and, with our family at times where you felt like, have you ever felt like, how is it possible to ever get not just ahead financially, but get caught up financially? And that hell of going without, braces for your kids, going without, music lessons or sports for your kids, because it's just hard to not just get ahead, but even get caught up. And there's like cycles of poverty that you can feel so stuck in. And you maybe see it with your grandmother's life, your grandfather's life, your parents' life, and now your life. And that is why Sonny has created this amazing solution. And, he calls it, I love the name, he calls it Sonny Finds the Money. And it's this amazing system that he has brought together to help his own family break generational curses of poverty. And so he's broken the cycle in his own life. He's helped so many others break the cycle in their life just by learning about his system where he brings all these things together. And so this training, normally it would cost, I think Sonny has told me it would normally cost $1,500, but he really wants to help people right now, especially in this quote unquote, recession that we're entering upon. And because it's a virtual event, you don't have to, there's no like hotel room that he's booking to host it with food and all that stuff. So it's a virtual event. So the cost is eliminated there. You don't have to drive there. You don't have to buy a plane ticket. You don't have to rent a hotel. I think it's a 4-hour event and it's scheduled for Saturday, December 17th. And I'm going to be there with Sonny, and we're going to dive deep into the tactics that Sonny uses to help people. And I'm so excited. You just heard him say 2 people that he's recently helped. One business owner found $70,000. Sonny helped him find $70,000 immediately in their business. Another business owner, he was able to help them with $140,000, and he helps with his trifecta system, which he's going to explain to us, how to do it. How good would it feel for you to be on a whole new financial footing? How good would it feel for you to be able to start saying yes to all the things that your family has in their heart to do? And when your kid asks, hey, mom, hey, dad, could I take soccer lessons? Or could I do this? Or if you yourself, those bucket list items that you want to experience in life, how good would it feel to start being able to not just experience those things, but also to be able to help the people that you want to help? And so, if you're ready to discover the secrets to finding money that's already at your disposal, that we weren't taught this in high school, they didn't teach us. They didn't teach you how to manage your money. They didn't teach you the secrets of the wealthy and the secrets that only elite people know about, because like Sonny said, these are recipes that are handed down from generation to generation. So if you're ready to discover those secrets, we have a link in the comments, and please go click that link. We'd love to see you at this event. I'm so excited to go deeper with Sonny and learn more about this system that you've created, Sonny. I love your hat, cash flow. And so I just want to thank you so much for your time, Sonny. I think this will really, truly be a blessing to you if you're watching this interview. If you missed the first part of it, go back and watch the earlier part to hear Sonny's story. So Sonny, I just want to thank you so much for your time today. And thank you for offering this free event to people, especially for a time such as this, that we really need to understand these secrets, and we really need to know how to help not just ourselves and our families, but others.
All right. It's been my pleasure to help your audience, and hopefully some of those nuggets I gave you, where you can find some extra money and things right there. So that you can feed your family and then live the life that you want, so you can get more time to spend with the people that you love.
That's right.
Cash flow is what it's about.
I love it. Thank you so much,
Awesome.
Sonny. You have an awesome day, and I will see you soon for sure on the 17th.
I see y'all then.